Well, good morning, you guys, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. And today's letter actually comes from Tracy, west of the Mississippi. Levi, there's no need to be sad. Based on what you are telling me here, the group is not meant for me. I do think the name of the group, Levi's Legion of Liberals, for anyone but Bernie. Based on the thread I saw last night, ha! That is great that Jay is a founding member, but she started the exchange by posting an inflammatory meme to begin with. Obviously, your group contains Bernie supporters, and if you don't want them, then you have some culling to do. My feeling is that we have to do better than screaming at each other in order to unite enough to win this. Bernie, like it or not, is ahead in the polls. Jay, like it or not, and screaming at people over it isn't going to help. When I post political stuff, it is in an effort to either expose something that people may not be aware of or educate people on an issue. I don't post to insult or inflame anymore, as I have found that it gets me nowhere. Think about the people that voted for Trump and why they did. They were marginalized groups who felt like Trump would change things for them. Though they're naive and ignorant, through their naive and ignorant eyes, they saw a successful businessman who was promising to share his riches with them by making his world accessible to them. Bernie is doing the same for young people right now. People my son's age, 20 somethings, are finding their future prospects in just about every area, economy, education, environment, to be depressing. And Trump is only scaring them further. Bernie is promising to relieve them of some of this distress, and can you blame them for wanting that relief? I myself voted for President Obama because his campaign of hope was the best thing to come along in my entire political life. Obama himself was throwing out ideas that were considered radical. Obamacare, really? Yet some of us saw the wisdom in his ideas and voted for him. I am not saying Bernie's ideas have the same wisdom, but they certainly have some appeal. So it's my suggestion, for what it's worth, that we stop acting like the old farts that we're starting to become and try to be more understanding of the thinking behind some people's choices. Then use that understanding to educate, not insult. Anyone can create, can't even see with my glasses. Anyone can create an inflammatory meme and make it viral, but it takes a lot more effort to post about actual information about a candidate and his chances and keep the conversation civil. I know, my friend, you are passionate about your causes because you always are, and I admire you for that. But we have to get past the screaming at each other. And there's one thing that the GOP has going for it now, for better or for worse, is that they're a united front. Unfortunately, it is a united front for Trump. The the Dems had that with Obama, and we need to get it back. I don't like Bernie either, but I know that many of my son's friends who are saddled with college debt right now and are low job prospects um, are clinging to the man, and understandably so. This is just isn't about us, Levi. This is about generations around us, and we need to find and encourage the candidate that will help everyone. As my favorite spiritual guide, Mother Teresa, said, we shall have no peace until we learn to tolerate one another. I find that statement to be truer than ever in this crazy world, in these crazy times. And I don't think by tolerate she meant put up with anything from anyone, but rather simply try to understand the other side. Put the shoe on the other foot mentality, because once you try to understand, then at least you can explain your side in light of that. Oh, and my apologies if my comments last night were offensive, but I just want us all to get along, and I'm paraphrasing this part. Good luck to you, Levi, uh, and your legion. If you just tame that passionate personality of yours a bit and simply use your words not in capital letters, I think it would benefit the next election a lot. You know your stuff politically and speaking and right well, and speaking right well, but you get riled up too easily, which always results in verbal sparring with people. That eventually leads you to getting reported and temporarily banned. You've got the expertise to share. It's just that you and Jay share it in a way that need to share it. You can't share it in a way that isn't inflammatory and puts people on the defensive all the time. My wish for you, my friend, is you channel that passion in a way that gets through to people, not turns them away from you. You have a lot to offer, but I think your current method puts people off. Just my 2 cents. Okay, so that's a very long video, but and thank you, Tracy. And it's unfortunate that Jay and I got out of control. It usually doesn't happen with me because I don't give a but I've tried being calm and nice, and there is no informing or educating the willfully ignorant. I've tried that for 8 years, so I gave up. And isn't it odd that this thread brought out more communication with us? I haven't talked to you in probably a couple of years, but I'm glad we had a chance to talk. But don't jump ship. Climb back on board, and maybe you can be the peacemaker. Jay is passionate, I'm passionate, as you said, but we cannot get through to these Bernie supporters. I really like Bernie, and his supporters have a lot of passion, but he has misguided these people. He has sold them snake oil. I'd love to have free this, and hell, I paid over $300,000 for my daughter's tuition at Baylor and the other one at Notre Dame. I'd love to have free tuition. I'd love to have free health care. I would love to have my Bentley free, but I would also love to have J-Lo next to me for the next 20 years. So I'm a realist, and the best thing we can do, Tracy, is to register thousands of new voters, because I really don't want these Bernie supporters to F this thing up again by not voting for the candidate that doesn't win the nomination because they don't like him or her, or by crossing over and voting for Dump, or by writing Bernie in. He's not going to be nominated. That's the reality. So we must galvanize, like you said, as Republicans. Anyway, we're out. Tracy, come back on. And Jay, you and I, let's make a commitment to tone it down, tone the rhetoric down a little bit, not be quite as inflammatory, play in the sandbox with these people. We'll give you guys an update on how it works. We are out. One love, peace, and Godspeed.